Good day, and welcome to the Ram Ashram Satsang orientation session, where in under 1 hour, you'll learn a modern satsang technique for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Eddie, and I've been practicing satsang for 14 years. Today, I will introduce this event's facilitator, but first, I'd like to give a brief introduction to this orientation session. If you'll direct your attention towards your screen, you'll see the first element is satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby we may obtain peace, light, and love in our lives. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin its practice. Satsang consists of two words, sat and sang. Sat means positive energy, and sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Thus, the word satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important element of satsang. When we meditate, we withdraw our consciousness from worldly objects, direct it inwards, and focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, thereby allowing us to obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of satsang, outer satsang and inner satsang. An example of outer satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior. But only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain the highest states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The satsang method that you will learn today is an inner satsang, where we meditate in silence. Group session. Today's orientation session is structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus becomes improved and our progress along the spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these orientation sessions, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul. But only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain states of joy. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy, which we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The agenda for today consists of 3 sessions: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, you will be given instruction on how to meditate, followed by a period of meditation. During the interactive session, you have the opportunity to ask questions, or there'll be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He's the grandson of Guru Maharaj. He was born into a satsang family where he witnessed his family members obtain enlightenment and lead lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, spreading satsang. Upon arriving to the United States, both he and his wife continued conducting satsang for satsangees. He presently travels throughout the United States and India, facilitating satsangs, while maintaining his duties as a father, a husband, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
Hello and welcome, everyone. I was just listening to some videos about how satsang actually fits into the Ashtanga yoga practice fairly well. But let's hear a little bit about this practice, and then we'll go into how to meditate and do our practice today. The idea of starting with a video is essentially just that we get into the mode of meditation before we actually go into deep meditation in silence. So, Yuan, could you share that?
So in the process of understanding our life, one of the things that we are introducing here is a map of internal states. So now, why do we need to understand the map of internal states? First, this will provide a scale on which you can measure your personal growth. Personal growth is vertical, but this map divides that vertical scale in 5 levels. Each level now can be described in detail in terms of how you feel and behave when you are in that particular level. So you can understand where you really are. Second, this map of internal states will kind of become a model or a map of your personal growth. So to map out your path or your destination, you will have a model, you will have a map. For example, if you want to achieve lasting peace, we need to describe where that destination is. And then we need to figure out where you are. So the path from where you are to a lasting peace, we will have to, so if we understand where we are and where the destination is, then we can figure out a path from here to there. Make us understand that where is the state of illusion where there is no real peace inside versus where there is lasting peace. So at the lower level of being, there is little peace, but at a higher level of being, there is a deeper level or lasting level of peace. So we can distinguish the lower level of being and a higher level of being. Now, another thing that this map will provide us is an illustration of various concepts using this model. For example, let's take, love, right? At the lower level of being, love is very self-centered, while at a higher level of being, it is, unconditional, selfless. So there is a progress between a lower level to the higher level. Now, if you want to understand positive, negative, and ambitious states of mind, you can also use this map, because positive pulls you up, negative pulls you down. And that is something that, if we have this 5 levels, and we want to understand where we stand, what's pulling us up, what's pulling us down. So all those things can be illustrated and they can be understood using this map of internal states.
So we talk a lot about this this pyramid, or the vertical versus horizontal movement. So, you know, I was reading a book by folks who wrote the Chicken Soup series, and they talked about like movement. Horizontal movement is present, is like there is the past and there is future, and we're just moving in time. But growth is vertical, and understanding that, to grow, you'll have to make an effort. So I think horizontal movement kind of happens almost automatically. But when it comes to the vertical growth, you need to put in some effort, or somebody needs to pull you up, and or you need to pull yourself up. And satsang essentially provides that inner strength, or that ability to push yourself upwards towards higher consciousness. And it was interesting. I kept talking about this pyramid, which is described, in Upanishads, which, scriptures like thousands of years old. And this Power of Focus book actually described it in the context of how focus and concentration and your worldly success requires all of that, and your integrity, your ability to connect with others, your ability to lift people up, all that is required even in your material pursuits. So I kept talking about this, and then I realized that the fourth and fifth realm are about light and love. So you till then, so the bottom three are almost like lunar phase, where we ourselves don't have our own light, so to say. And like the moon, we reflect the light rather than have our own, like the sun. And then the solar phases are the fourth and fifth realm, where you have your own embodiment of this energy, this light, which in my view, light just reflects knowledge, because when there is light, you see more clearly. And once your eyes open up, you realize that there is this inherent connection that you have with your surroundings, your environment, not just people, with every conscious being. And that leads to more giving rather than taking, and that is the unconditional love that we talk about. So light and love, and beyond that is peace. That is lasting. That is something that we all want to achieve, but it's elusive to us. So we'll talk more after the meditation. Let's practice how we can all, kind of walk vertically upwards toward that goal of light, love, and peace. So for the next 20 or so minutes, let's, sit in a relaxed posture so that body doesn't move, because bodily movement actually distracts our mind, and eyes lightly closed for the same reason. And then imagine or try to manifest this transcendental energy. So think of the presence of this energy right in front of us, right with us. So that's one difference here, that we're not, your goal or your objective or your object of concentration is not far away. You imagine that it's right here with you. And this transcendental energy in form of light is here and now. You feel the presence, and also see that this light is coming into your heart, and hence enlightening your heart, and you are completely getting immersed in this light. So as the heart pumps out the blood to every nook and corner of the body, this energy is actually going to every part of your body and enlightening it, and you are completely getting immersed with this positive energy in form of light. So mind will wander away, because it does, it's natural. And once you realize that mind has wandered away, just bring it back to this thought and this thought alone. So during this practice, just, before and after, you can practice other things that help you in concentrating. And then this deep meditation in silence needs to be just one thought and one thought alone, that this transcendental energy is in front of us, entering our heart and distributing throughout our body, and we're getting completely and totally immersed in this light. So music initially to transition into it, but we will just focus on this thought that we're surrounded and are in presence of this transcendental energy, which is right in front of us, and that energy in form of light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and that we are getting completely and totally immersed in. Let's start now. Okay. So, Deborah, how are you? I think, so you'll have to unmute. Sorry. You need a remote control. Oh, sorry. Yeah, not unmuted yet.
There, I think now.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm good. My feet fell asleep, but I tried to transcend my feet falling asleep. It's interesting what comes up. I think what comes up for a reason. So try to bring it back, and I don't know, imagine myself filled with golden glowing light emanating out from my heart.
Mhm.
Over and over and over again when my thoughts stray. That's what I did. So
Yeah, I think my father used to say that fighting with your mind is futile because it's just so, it's, I think it's, on one hand, my grandfather who started this whole process, he was of the opinion that our most natural state is a peaceful state. However, it's one of those which we have to, like things that we have to unlearn, right? We have been, so right now we are practicing something which we, a state that we should have been in anyway, because we have, been trained to be otherwise.
yeah.
And on talking about, your, suddenly you're feeling the leg is, asleep. So two things came to my mind. One is just before the session, I was thinking about the whole yoga philosophy and how Maharishi Patanjali actually talked about 8 limbs of yoga, and 2 of them are asanas and pranayams, which is like physical exercises and physical poses and breathing exercises, which are just 2 of the 8 limbs he described, and 4 of the limbs are very meditative, practice oriented aspects. And the reason why the stretching exercises and breathing exercises were important was just that. How would a yogi sit in one pose meditating if that physical aspect is not taken care of, right? So lately what happened, it started, and I saw you actually sitting on the ground, which is the traditional way, and which is great. But, during the whole process of like people just not getting enough time and focus and, to be physically fit. And now, it's like, okay, you don't have to sit on the floor necessarily. You don't have to even. So, when I was growing up, I mean, and I fortunately was born into this satsang family. So the practice used to be keep your spine straight. And it was expected that you will be sitting on the ground in lotus pose. and keep your spine straight because energy lifts up through the spine, and have your chin a little inwards so that the body weight actually, when you move the chin a little inwards and then back, the body the weight of the head actually gets distributed evenly, and all those things were part of this, and slowly at some point people started having all these
I see as an adult you chose a nice comfortable chair.
Yeah,
I
so
got it.
yeah, so I am like, I still do sit sometimes. I'll tell you, I don't know, it is because all the early years I was sitting on the floor and or even on the stage with in the lotus pose, I feel the meditation is better and deeper in that. So I really feel more. So I don't know, it is just because it was the practice that developed that way, or it is actually true.
I do a lot of yoga and meditation, and really I've been reading that even the yoga poses are not even for some kind of physical, it's really just to get you there to have that kind of one pointed focus, which is so hard to do. I mean, it goes against everything in our culture that every to-do list, every realm of success or whatever. And the more you grasp at the list, the less you're going to get to the top of the pyramid. So I'm on the path.
I cannot agree more, actually, and Eddie can probably add to that too. It's like we have to unlearn so much. The way things are going is just incredible. So in September, I had a talk on inner peace, and I don't know if you have heard this. I have been talking about this pyramid a lot, and so what happened was I was here in Tyson's in Virginia, sitting in a meeting, and so there were like two parties in the meeting. So one of the senior folks kept trying, and he couldn't get his point through. And, so then at one point he just got so frustrated and said, you know what, let me give you an example. If from here, like Washington, DC, if you want to go north to New York, and if you take 95 south and start going 100 miles an hour, would you ever get there? And I'm like,
I'm following your analogy in the speedy car.
yeah. And,
I get it.
and I'm like, isn't this the problem that we all have?
Maybe you should walk.
So it's like, we all know that this world is changing and ever changing. There is nothing permanent here. We are not permanent, but we are trying to find something to associate with which will give us permanent peace. And it's like going on 95 south and expecting to be in New York. And it is such an incredible challenge that, so actually, believe it or not, like one of my very close, he's a family friend, he's part of the Satsang family, and so on and so forth. And one day he said, and his parents are also there, and he said, like, so Sanjeev, can I practice satsang and still be ambitious to achieve worldly success? And I'm like, okay, this is a question that comes to everyone's mind, including my wife's at one point. And it is like, the thing is that what are we pursuing? And so sometimes things come as byproduct, like if you are concentrating, you will do better in your decision making as well, right? And if you are pursuing this path of inner peace, a lot of relationships, a lot of your work-related things will also get better. But when you are chasing a dream, when everything works, oh, I'm great. And when it doesn't, oh, I'm in the pits. And that oscillation is the cause of all,
Suffering.
Yeah, and upheaval. And as Buddha said, like all attachments, kind of lead to misery. And the thing is, like, yes, we can get to that worldly success also, but chasing that is the problem. And
Chasing either one is the problem, I think. Chasing after Zen, you'll never get there. You're in the fast car. No, I wanted to share with you this term that I invented, not to be famous or anything, but just to share with you, because when you opened, I use this term, evolving up. And that is, that's the path of the pyramid, that vertical path, whatever. And if it's just something I made up for myself about how every person that crosses our path, every experience, everything that passes through us, can be viewed through a lens of an experience we can use to evolve up. Like, could we teach ourselves to cultivate a life where everything we do, every taste, every food, every experience of chopping vegetables, everything is on the path, our own little path of evolving up. And anyway, so that's why I'm here, and I'm glad to be here with you.
Actually, I am privileged to be here with you. Wow. This is amazing. So, oh, wow. Yeah. I think if we all just get this concept of evolving up, I think we're halfway there already. Yeah.
So thank you. Namaste.
And so typically I just ask Eddie to, so maybe evolving up gives you something to talk about before we wrap up today. Eddie?
That certainly is a positive way to look at our life, because much of what we see is obviously a reflection of what is inside of us. And so when we can look out into the world and see the good in things or the lessons that we should learn, then it certainly expedites our path. So this concept of evolving up, I think, is appropriate in helping us understand basically what lies within us that needs to be cleansed still, instead of seeing the suffering, it's an opportunity to change ourselves, to change our behavior, to cleanse our blemishes so that we can evolve up. And
I'm not saying I do it every day, but I'm saying I'm cognizant of it and that it's my goal.
And when did you come up with this idea?
Evolving up. Just in the last 2-3 years, I've been on this path of evolving up just for myself. This is this path I'm on. You know, I had some traumatic things happen to me, or sad things that, and so when certain really traumatic things happen in your life, it makes you question everything.
Mhm.
And when I started to question everything, then that's how I got on this path or whatever. And it's a process, and every day is, you know, trying to evolve up, and so many different resources, even free resources, you know, available, and Audible books. And, you know, I kind of look at things like a compost pile of resources that you can take from other religions, from things you hear, from music, from anything, and, you know, choose for yourself what is meaningful to you, or what helps you evolve up, and discard or let go. Literally breathe out, exhale, let go of anything that doesn't serve you on your path of evolving up. So I don't know, this is just my personal little path.
No, this is amazing. I mean, and I would even go as far as saying that one of the reasons you probably are here, because, you know, you came up with this. You know, I was reading one of the. I try to translate some of the work that my grandfather did, and one of those which kind of rings in my head these days is, you know, somebody came to him and said, like, so what do you believe in? So he says, like, I believe in getting to an ocean of peace. And in that process, somewhere he talks about, you know, why do you want me to be tied to a specific ideology? Why can't I pick and choose what works for me?
It's like gems. It's like,
Right?
can you find little gems?
Yeah. And
Well, it doesn't matter where they come from, or what book they're from, or what,
right.
whatever.
Right.
In fact, I think this is just my personal opinion, is that all these kinds of certain religion or different sects, or what you label yourself, tends to separate people rather than bring people to a collective something.
Yeah.
The collective. This is another word, the collective hive, the hive evolving up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that when I would you know, step back and think about, religions should always be about uniting people and making them work
Pretty
towards
simple.
peace, right?
So simple.
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
So why would you know? And then the next question comes to my head is, like, then why the most of the wars in the history were because of, you know? So anyway, I mean, we digress, but I feel that evolving up, and see the I think in one of the videos I was recording, I said, and this is just like what I have observed in some of, you know, not just my grandfather, but some of his followers, that there is a state that you can go up to when you evolve up. So first of all, I think you kind of described, and it's amazing. I think stick with it, because you got to get to it, where, you know, so I'm describing two things. One is a definition of a karma yogi, which came out of Gita, where, you know, everything you do is towards the same goal, which is to evolve up. And once so it doesn't matter, you're sleeping, you're eating, you just described it. So once you get to that point where, you know, you are like the energy, essentially, in my, you know, description is like, when that energy is at work through me at all times, then whatever I do is just the manifestation of that energy, right? So then everything you do is towards that evolving up, right? So that's one aspect, or the definition itself, right? And you just described that. But the second thing is that think about that as a destination, or where you ought to be is, and I personally have seen this, so it can happen and it will happen if we stay evolving up, is like, so, one of my grandfather's followers who I used to visit when I was in college. So on my way home, I would, so he used to live where, if, for lack of better, it's a better explanation. It's like Taj is about 45 minutes from the location I'm talking about. So Taj Mahal. And so I would stop by, and sometimes I would have lots of questions. Sometimes I wanted to ask him something, and I would go there and I would forget everything. This happened to me multiple times when I was struggling with some question, or I was stuck in something.
Are you saying you went to the Taj Mahal in India?
No, so
Where the location is by there.
Yeah.
Okay.
The location is by there.
A friend's house.
Yeah. So it's like one of my grandfather's followers. I used to visit him. It was about 45 minutes from where Taj Mahal is.
Okay.
Right. And when I used to visit him, I experienced this in person, that if you have evolved up to a certain point, that's fine. That's fine. It's so once you have evolved up to a certain point, that your state becomes infectious. So if you are at peace, other people who come in the environment feel that peace.
Yeah.
So
you can watch them feel it.
Right.
You can watch them open. People are dying to break open.
Yeah.
If you just open that door just a tiny bit and are like authentic or something, I don't know what it is. They are just so thirsty for it, It scares them a little, but then you can watch them want to open, and that what we're talking about is on a lot of different levels, about just being friendly or being open or authentic. It's not necessarily about being whatever, enlightened. I'm as far from enlightened as you can get, okay? But I'm on a path. I am on a path.
So I would visit him, and as I was describing, like as a young kid, too many questions, too many things you're stuck with, and I would, I was like, this time I'll ask him this, and this, and I go there, and mind is blank. It's like once I distinctly remember, like I was for 3 months struggling with something in my head, and went there, and this time I want to get this resolved. And I was struggling. Once I got there, I was struggling to remember what it was. And I'm like, what? Because see, once you go to this environment where it's so quiet and peaceful, and the energy is a different level, you are at that level, and
everything just disappears like nothingness.
So
nothingness.
So some of those things that have happened just made me feel that there is a possibility that we all can evolve up to that level where it's not that you are in the light, love, and peace, but people around you start becoming that way as well. and that's what drives me. You
Yeah,
know?
me too. I started something I always wanted to do, which I became I had the opportunity now to do, is to volunteer at the local food bank, which happens to be this great place, you know. And I used to sit at my desk at this job where they tortured me for 30 years, and I would dream that someday, if they would just let me out in the afternoon, in the daylight, that I could volunteer at the food bank is all I want to do. And now I'm in that place where I can do that, you know. And when I go there, it is so beautiful. And it's simple. We're sorting bottles of juice, you know. It's not anything, but the I don't know, it's like the juju is right for what we're talking about. And if other people are spending their afternoon at the food bank, they're obviously care something about the collective hive, or one have chosen to spend. So I don't know them or whatever, but when I go there, I'm open and friendly. And when I leave there, I feel like I'm glowing.
Yes.
And all I did was sort juice.
Yeah. And you see, and this is another thing that I don't talk about that much, but I think about, so satsang, when I, think about back, like there are so many aspects that I'm trying to record some videos. We talk about in these sessions. There is this aspect of satsang, which is service. And so you talked about evolving up, you talked about service.
I think it's time for some other people to talk now. I'm gonna be quiet now. Thank you. Speak up, other people.
All right. So Shivangi, on that note, or Onkar, and Eddie too.
I'm good, thank you, Ian.
So back to you, Eddie.
I'll just finish up by saying that, someone once described this world as being a school.
Absolutely.
So, that's what we're doing in this process. We find out what works, what supports us, and we do those things. And we want to make changes in the world. We make those changes within ourselves. And that's the, doing those things is the best way for us to evolve up. So, and obviously satsang.
See, the thing is that the process of evolving up is neither a straight line, nor it is something that is a given, in the sense that you need a GPS, you need, a whole set of, like you need instruction, guidance, an approach, validate that approach, and all of the above, right? It's vertical. The more you evolve up or grow, there are things like ego, things like even things which you struggle with initially, which are emotions, but then there are other aspects. So my grandfather's view was that, the farther you climb up, the more careful you got to be, because the slipping and sliding so the terrain would get tougher, and the slipping and sliding would hurt you even more, because you will fall farther. So you cannot let the guard down. So Shivangi, you're quiet.
Namaste, Bhaiyaji. I'm good. I'm just listening to the conversation. Great discussion here today.
True.
All good.
And Cecilia, you just joined. I think the problem is like, depending on where you are, like the 7 p.m. time is, so actually she joined, I think around 5:30. So I got a notification and then I joined, but she couldn't get the audio going. So, Cecilia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello. How are you? Oh, sorry. Did I unmute?
Good.
Good, good. So, so yeah, you joined early on, and then I think there was we had the session.
Mm-hmm.
So what time zone are you in?
I'm in Central.
Oh, that's okay. So we meet Tuesdays on 7 p.m. and Saturdays on 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
The link remains the same.
Okay.
So for you, Central would be, I think, right now it's 7 for you?
It's 7:20.
19.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it will be 6 o'clock your time.
Okay. That's what I kept messing up then.
I'm sorry. I'm
That's okay.
sorry.
Not
I
your fault, mine.
I tried to communicate, but I think your audio didn't go through.
Mm-hmm.
So how about this? Now that you have joined and we're wrapping up, but now that you have joined, how about we have a brief meditation anyway?
Okay. That
All
would be
right.
great.
Okay. So, and I'll be like super brief. Okay. But let's do it. Let's so Yuan, if you want to get going, that's fine. Or do you want to stay for another 15 minutes or so? I'm sorry. Hold on one second, Cecilia. So Yuan, can you stay for 15 more minutes or you got to run? Okay. So Cecilia, we had a whole discussion, whole big discussion today. We had a video on. I'm wondering, should I play the video? So maybe on Saturday or next Tuesday, we can get to the video part. Let's just focus on how we meditate here. And
Okay.
just so that you know how to meditate, try that over next few days. And on Saturday, if you can join, or next Tuesday, if you can join either of those days, then we can you can then ask any question or anything that's working or not working. You can share then, and we can tweak it from there.
Okay.
All right. So,
yes.
So let's get into the meditation itself.
All right.
So, so first thing is sit in a relaxed posture, which is very important because every time you move, your body moves, your mind moves with it, right? So the idea here is that we want to concentrate our mind. So because mind keeps moving from one thought to another and another and another, we want to bring it to one thought first and then eventually drop that as well. Okay.
Okay.
So the question is like, what should be that one thought? And that is where most of the meditation practices differ. Where to start differs quite a lot, right? So typical thing is like, okay, start with some chanting, start with some mantra, start with some, there are other things that you can take. So basically, you want to give your mind a toy to deal with. So leave everything else, come to this, right? So here in satsang and how my grandfather in 1930 set this up. And so the practice is that we want to concentrate and manifest and imagine transcendental energy. So for some, it comes naturally. For some, it might take a little bit of effort. But essentially, meditation should be effortless in my view. So like I'm sitting in this light, I am sitting in this amazingly uplifting and, it's a positive energy which is around me, in front of me. I feel the presence, and this energy in form of light is entering my heart, and then it's distributing throughout my body, and I'm completely getting totally immersed in this light. So that mind will wander away, right? It'll go to things that somehow we are attached to in one way or the other, or things that are going on with us. So the thought here is that we want to give up all of that, let go of all of that. We just think about this transcendental energy in front of us, entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and that we are becoming one with this light, right? So, Yuan, I think I would say 3 minutes of music, and then we'll meditate for 5 minutes, and then 2 minutes of music after that. So basically, for a few minutes. So this is the practice. When you try for next few days before we get into a group sessions have collective energy, much better meditation in my view every time I do group meditation. So when you practice for meditating in silence for 10 to 15 minutes at least. 15 minutes is ideal. And longer, but no longer than, I would say, 25 to 30 minutes. Shorter than 15 is not that effective, but, starting with 5 to 10 is fine too. Let's start somewhere. All right. So Cecilia, any questions at this point?
No, not really.
Okay. So let me just state this one more time. So feel the presence of this transcendental energy. It's in front of us in form of light. And that light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body. And we are becoming one with this light. If mind wanders away, bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that we are in the presence of this energy in form of light. It's entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we're becoming one with this light. Let's start now. All right. So I think we stayed a little longer today. Tuesdays, I usually close in an hour or a couple of minutes, but for a reason. Everything happens for a reason.
I
So,
appreciate that.
so practice a bit on your own, and then hopefully we'll see you soon.
Okay. Thank you again.
Sure thing. And so it will be 9 a.m. Central on Saturday and 6 p.m. Central on Tuesday. And link remains the same.
Okay.
Very good.
I've got it. Thank you very much.
Very good. Have a good night and have a great week ahead. Deborah, Cecilia, Eddie, Shivangi, Yuan, thanks for staying on. Abhishek and Himanshu.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Sanjeev.